Hello everyone, welcome back to the new video on Kotlin Flow on Android complete course. In this video we will understand that why Kotlin Flow was introduced and what problems we faced when we're using live data. Because before learning any new technology, it is very important to understand the problems it solves. So first start with the problems which we face while using live data. Problem number one is live data is main thread oriented, which means that whenever we want to call data from an API, read from a database, do any background work, we have to manually manage the threads using executor or coroutines, which increase the complexity of the code. Problem number two is live data is not designed for data streams. So live data is good for single observable data, but not ideal for data stream. So examples of data streams can be search input typing, location updates, or chat messages, and some other use cases where data stream is expected. So let's see an example of chat app with the live data. So here in our project we will create a new package data, and in that we will create a repository named as chat repository, and in that we will create a variable private wall messages live data, mutable live data, private, and expose an immutable version of that as a public data member. So here we will create another variable named messages live data, and this will be immutable version of live data. Press Alt Enter to import it, and we will assign this messages live data. So we will access this data from outside the scope of this chat repository to access the data which is coming through the live data. So in here we will create a function named as trigger flow test messages, and in that we will send some messages through the live data. Post value hello, how are you, and few messages, message 2, 3, 4 and 5. And now we will observe that data in the view model. Here we will create another class named as main view model, which will extend from view model, and in that we will create a function named as fetch messages, which will call the actually here we will first get the repository instance, repository instance, and in the fetch messages we will call the trigger flow test messages method, and in the init block we will listen those messages which we will get from the messages live data. So for that we have the observe forever function, in which we will get the message. So we will print that message in the logs, log d, and press tab, live data, and in that we will print the log and create a tag in the start of the class. Press tab here, and this will automatically create a tag for us. Now in our main activity we will get the instance of this main view model. I will name it as view model, main view model, by view models method. Okay, and in the onCreate function we will call the fetch messages method of this view model. So now let's run the app, and guess what we will see in the logs. as we are sending all these messages from this trigger flow test messages, triggering all these messages, and in the main view model we are printing all the messages in the logs. So we will open the logs and copy this tag from here and paste it in here. Okay, so our app is up and running, and in the logs we are only seeing the message 5. So so why this is happening? So this is because our live data is not designed for data streams. That's why we are getting only the last message, which is sent through the live data. So if we want to get all the messages which are uh, coming through this live data, we have to add some artificial delay here. Let's say I will make this function a suspend one and add a delay of 100 millisecond after each message. So I will copy this one and paste after each message. And in the main view model we also need to make this, call this in the coroutine scope. So I will wrap it into the view model scope dot launch. Press Alt Enter to import it. So now if I run the app again, then I will see all the messages in the logs. Okay, so our app is up and running, and we are seeing all the messages in our logs which we are getting through the live data. But here the thing is, as this is not designed for data stream, so we have to manually add these artificial delays to get all the messages. But in the real apps we don't want to slow the app or slow the data stream because we are using live data. So that's why we need Kotlin Flow for this purpose. So we will see the same example using Kotlin Flow. Here we will create a private void messages flow, mutable shared flow, and expose the immutable version of that by pressing Ctrl D. Make a copy of this line and message flow, shared flow. Press Alt Enter to import this one and assign this messages flow to this public variable, which is immutable one, and we will access it outside the scope of this chat repository. So in here we will create another function named as send message, and in that we will send the message to the flow using emit method and pass the message in it. As this emit function is a suspend function, so we can only call it from the suspend function or a coroutine scope. So we will make this function a suspend one. Now I will copy this function, paste it in here, and rename it to actually previously it should be live data test messages, and now it needs to be trigger flow test messages. So I will remove this artificial first. Here I will call this send message and also remove this artificial delay from here. Press Alt Shift and click on each line. Remove this artificial delay and call this send message method. Okay, now and from the main view model here we will comment this line, and actually this is for live data, and here we will call the repository dot trigger flow test messages, and in the init log we will listen those messages using flow. So view model scope repository dot messages flow and call the collect method on it, and in that we will get the string value, which is a message. So as this collect function is a suspend function, so we can only call it from the suspend function or coroutine scope. So we will wrap it into a coroutine scope by using view model scope dot launch and move it in here. And we do the same thing, we log that message in the logs. So log D, press tab. In the start I will type flow and print the message in the log. Okay, so now we will run the app and verify this flow behavior through logs. Okay, so our app is up and running and we are getting all the messages through the flow with a few milliseconds of difference. So we haven't added any artificial delay to get all the messages. So this is why the Kotlin flow is designed for the data streams. Problem number 3 is limited operators in live data. In modern apps, we often need to transform data, filter data, combine multiple API calls, or retry network calls. Live data does not provide us built-in operators for these tasks. Problem number 4 is not fully coroutine friendly, which means that live data was introduced when the Kotlin coroutines was not very popular. So that's why it does not fully support structured concurrency, cancellation, sequential async operation, and back pressure handling. Problem number 5, not ideal for domain layer. As live data is tightly coupled with Android lifecycle, so the use of live data in domain layer make it dependent on Android platform classes. So let's summarize the points of live data problem. So the problem number 1 is live data is main thread oriented. Second is not designed for data streams, and third is limited operators in live data, and fourth is not fully coroutine friendly, and last one is not ideal for domain layer. So why Kotlin Flow? So these are the main reasons to use Kotlin Flow, which are better coroutine support, better threading, support streams, powerful operators like filter, combine, conflate, debounce, etc. Work in all architecture layer without making any dependency on Android framework, better error handling, and better cancellation support. So these are the reasons which allow us to use Kotlin Flow in our project. Now you have got the clear understanding of where live data falls short and where it fits in, and how Kotlin Flow fill those gaps. You have also seen that how both handle data streams in real chat app scenario. So in the next video we are going to dive into the flow implementation basics, which include how to create first Kotlin flow builders like flow, as flow, flow off, exception handling, and the difference between collect versus collect latest. If you have any query, let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Bye.